Howdy, everybody. Can somebody raise their hands if they can hear me? Awesome. Welcome, welcome. Let me share my screen and we will get going. Okay. I'm messing with the Teams interface is really weird, so I'm playing with it a little bit. And then I want to make sure that we're recording as well. So let me make sure that happens. Yes, okay, cool. All right. Welcome, everybody. Happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday, the 17th. Appreciate you guys coming back to another webinar that Alessia and I are putting on. Today, we're going to be talking about turning customer insights into win strategy. This is something that we've seen a lot of companies struggle with, small, medium, large, all across various industries. So we're going to go over the different aspects of capture. We're going to go over collecting human intelligence. We're going to go over what to do with that. We're going to go over win themes, and we're going to show you how Win More BD AI helps transform all of that stuff into something that's usable for your proposal teams, for your capture teams, and really make a difference in your win rates.
I just wanted to make sure, can you guys see the screen? Because I had to say bring onto the screen, so I just wanted to make sure that you see the slides.
Somebody want to raise their hand?
Raise your hand if you see the slides, please.
All right, cool.
Awesome.
All right, so my name is David Huff. I'm the CEO of Win More BD. I'm joined here by Alessia Smitrova, our Chief Strategy Officer. Alessia and I started Win More BD last year when we recognized a key kind of gap in the market of that there's not really a whole lot of AI tools out there that are helping automate capture and really making a difference in win rates. So prior to starting Win More BD, Alessia and I ran OST Global Solutions, which is a premier business development and proposal consulting firm in Rockville, and we have developed the training material and methodologies that we've used to win over $28 billion in funded work. Since 2005, we're taking all of those lessons learned, all of those methodologies, and all of that process and know-how that Alessia and I bring to build Win More BD and really a convergent, coherent system that's driving the enterprise productivity. So trying to capture value across your business development team and your proposal teams instead of just focusing on the super users, where a lot of the value is being captured right now. As you guys have questions, please go ahead and feel free to put those into the Q&A box, and we'll get to those at the end. We're also automating the hardest part of winning contract consistently, which is the capture phase. Everybody knows that we should do capture. It's one of those things that I've talked to small business owners, I've talked to mid-tiers, I've talked to large companies, and it is the same struggle over and over and over again. Is that capture is long, it's complicated, it's hard, and a lot of times they're not getting the things that they need in order to submit a winning proposal. So we'll talk about that here in a bit. And then it also enforces the winning behavior. So we are reducing your time to a win strategy by 75%. We're doubling your win probability, and we're lowering your costs by 50%. So this is our system. It is live. And what I want to do is I want to go over the parts that AI cannot replace. Because no matter how good AI gets, no matter how advanced it gets, as far as I can tell, right now humans are making buying decisions, and GSA is experimenting with their AI evaluation tool. However, the goods and services that contractors provide are still being bought by humans, and those needs are still being derived by humans. So it's really important for us as business development and capture professionals to understand that that human intelligence is now more important than ever. And these are the things that really drive win rates. And regardless of our tool or another platform or another tool, we still need humans to be able to collect that human intelligence, to build that relationship, and to find the parts and to find the pieces and drive the system to be successful. So it's a partnership between humans and AI. So I want to take a minute and go through one, the capture process so that we're all on the same page. There's a lot of misunderstanding about what capture is and what it isn't. And then two, I want to start diving into the things that humans need to get really good at. So we define capture in 6 phases: customer engagement, intelligence gathering, win strategy, competitive analysis, teaming, and solution development. These things are things you can do in parallel. It's things you can do. Like, you don't always have the information you need to make decisions. So the process is a Venn diagram because it's about the overlaps that really matter. And where the things come together is where you can find the really great win strategies, the really great teaming strategies, the really great solutions that nobody else has. And as we walk through this slide deck, we're going to focus primarily on customer engagement and win strategy and what to do with that. So capture is from when you decide to pursue an opportunity. A lot of times that is in the qualification phase. So people have various gates. There is almost always a qualification gate. That is the formal start of capture. So that's where we're going to start. And then it generally ends at the final RP issuance. So everything right before the RP comes out. When do we decide? And then when do we start writing the proposal? That's where we're at. That can be a year. It can be 6 months if we're late. It can be 5 years. It can be 10 years. When we win a contract as a contractor, that opportunity immediately goes back into capture. If we lose an opportunity that we really wanted, that opportunity immediately goes back into capture. So some of these things we can take a really long time to work on. So for some people, they can show up, they can go to sign up for class, and they can show up and ace the final. And that would be the equivalent of us finding an opportunity off of sam.gov and submitting a proposal and winning. We're like, hooray, yeah, we won, right? Because that is the goal. That's the goal of capture, is to win. And some people can do that, but the harder things get, the bigger you get, the more complicated solutions you get, you need to start attending a class and finding out everything we can about who the customers are, what do they want, and how do they want to see things. So capture to proposals is what attending the course is to passing the final exam. If you have missed the course, you will have trouble acing the exam. If I get 50 people in a room, I ask this question, there's always at least one that raises their hand that's like, oh, I skipped all the classes. And now I was able to ace the final. So if anybody is on the call that's done that, raise your hand for me. I'd love to acknowledge that you're one of the anointed special ones. Nobody. Okay, great. We're all diligent students here. So let's talk about customer engagement. This is the obvious component that affects everything. And I'm going to go through these things, and I'll let Alessia chime in here because she has a lot of insight onto these pieces. But there's really only 5 things that we need to do with the customer. This is not this big amorphous kind of step. So we simplified it to 1, we need to identify the right decision makers. 2, build the relationship. 3, collect and document intelligence. 4, influence their requirements. And 5, we want to vet our solution. So let's see any color commentary here on this slide that you'd like to share.
No, I mean, there's lots that you can do. I think that's where a lot of our expertise lives, in the world of AI. But there's a lot that AI can do for you. For example, in our system, at the early stages, we have the customer identification and intel, the documents that relate to the customer that are being built in the platform. And eventually, you're going to have a lot of other capability that's coming up online this year. However, it is up to you to form those warm relationships. Humans will be biased towards other humans. And that is the part where the system can help you tremendously, yet it is up to you. And that's where a lot of the BD is going.
Yeah, and there's a quick story I want to share real quick. So I was helping a large consulting company with their win strategy. And through the capture, we were engaging, we were doing win themes like we're going to talk about today, and we were engaging with the customer. And we found that it was the OCIO in this agency that was making the decision. So the Office of the Chief Information Technology Officer, whatever that acronym is. And they were pretty frustrated in their enterprise migration, which is what this was, and the modernization efforts that they've been trying to do for 5 years. They've been very frustrated about it. And basically, what we found out through identifying the right decision makers, building that relationship, and really vetting our solution, because this is something that people don't really do very often. What we found out is that they feel like their user base is a very opinionated user base. It's a very large agency. They are incredibly experienced. They're incredibly educated. Most of them have multiple PhDs. And their user base was sabotaging the modernization efforts. So the OCIO, after this was their third attempt to do a modernization contract like this, and an enterprise one. And they said, we're just going to build the new thing and turn the old thing off. So what that meant for us is if you guys are familiar with large scale migrations and enterprise modernization efforts for IT systems, you spend a lot of time doing research and you spend a lot of time doing user stories and epics and all of these things and documenting all of the workflows. Well, this customer who was going to be making the award didn't care about any of that. They're like, we have that. We've done that twice and it's very good. The problem is we couldn't get everybody to agree, so our contracts failed twice, and they had to cancel the contracts. So what did that mean for us is like, oh, well, hey, we can just cut that off of our solution and our pricing, because that was a year, maybe a year and a half of work that we had planned out for this massive, massive enterprise. So when we vetted our solutions, like, hey, just to confirm, you guys don't want to do that. They're like, nope, we just want you to review the stuff that was made, make sure you got your thing around it, your head around it, and then build the new thing. And when you're ready to deploy, we're going to turn the old thing off. And I'm paraphrasing and summarizing a lot, but this is why it's so important to have that identifying the right decision maker. Because if we were talking to the end users, for example, we'd have got a million different answers, and they weren't the ones making the buying decision. So when we talk about customer engagement, remember that the last step of this is that vetting the solution. Hey, will this work in your environment? Did I get this right? Did I hear all of these things correctly? Remember that vet your solution piece. So what I want to do is, sometimes it's a little difficult when you don't get any kind of information from your buyers. So I wanted to go over the 4 kinds of buyer modes that we've identified. And this really drives their openness and willing to share information with you, right? So our buyers, where are they? Are they in the growth mode? They want the procurement out yesterday. They care about the agency. They want improvements to their work today. Growth. I have a vision for the future and I need you guys to implement it. I will be very open with everything because I want my stuff to be as good as possible, right? My deliveries. Or are you in trouble mode? The story I just told you, they were in trouble mode. The situation was pretty dire for them. They were highly motivated. They needed help urgently. The IT spend on the old legacy system was outrageous. Also, very open, very willing to share. So these are the 2 types of buyers when we identify them. These are the ones who are going to give us the most information. Right? So if you recognize these signs, you want to latch on and maybe elevate that opportunity and spend more time with that customer because you're going to get the more information you need. Okay, so the next kind of buyer is the stable buyer. They're not very motivated. There's no real pressing need to change. Delays in procurements for years, it's okay. Things are fine, right? these types of customers are not really going to give you a whole lot of information. I mean, maybe they will if you know them and they like you and they trust you, but it's going to be more difficult to kind of break in, build that relationship with these types of customers. And then I'm sure you guys have seen these before, the overconfident buyers. They are not buying quickly. They won't share any useful information. They might have low opinion of contractors. I've seen some of these. They're not fun to work with. So maybe if this is part of your PWIN or your calculus and which opportunities you want to go after, maybe this is one you start downgrading. Okay. So once we find our customer, now we need to find their hot button. So what is a hot button? A hot button is a cue that triggers an emotional response in your customer. For me, my hot button is the serial comma, also known as the Oxford comma. You should use it, and period. And I will argue with you for hours about why it adds more clarity and why that extra electron will save you a lot of time and money and heartache and problems. So that's my hot button. What are your customer hot buttons, right? So what are the things that they get emotional about? I was in the infantry back before I was a consultant. If you asked me what my hot button was, you're like, hey, I got this cool new thing for you. I'd be like, great. How much does it weigh? I don't care what it does. How much does it weigh? Because I have to carry that thing. So different customers and different environments are going to have different hot buttons. And for us as business developers, we need to understand at what level are we getting the hot buttons from. Because this is going to shape, as we create win themes later on, which ones get elevated up to proposal level win themes, which ones stay as section level win themes, and which ones maybe get demoted and become benefits in the subsections. So everybody gets the baseline. That's the stated requirements. This is the RFP, the project briefs, the correspondence, yada yada. Everybody gets that. As we start driving down the iceberg of client need and pain, we come to low impact knowledge, which is understanding the underlying project needs. And this comes from formal project related interviews, site visits, and the like. And then medium impact knowledge is understanding the client strategic goals, and that comes from ongoing relationships, past project involvement. And the high impact knowledge is really the stuff we're trying to get to, is that emotional desires. That comes from professional intimacy, strategic partnerships, interpreting nonverbal and cultural clues. All humans are emotional buyers. The buying part of our brain comes right next to where our fight and flight response is, which is why when you guys walk onto a car lot and someone comes up to you to talk about cars, your immediate reaction is, oh no, I'm under attack. Don't talk to me. It's the same with the buying decision. That same reluctance, that fight or flight mode, is right where your emotional regulators are in the old part of your brain. So hot buttons are generally about awareness, understanding, client pain, a pet peeve, a must-have requirement, what could break down, what are the risks and worries that keep the customer up at night. So what are the things, and when I do these types of brainstorming sessions with subject matter experts, and you guys may or may not have experienced this, but I've done a lot of them on a lot of large programs with lots of people in the room. And every now and then I get a room full of engineers or a room full of experts who say, oh, this is easy. Oh, this is easy. Oh, this is easy. This is easy too. And I'm like, well, gosh, guys, it sounds like this entire contract is easy. Why do I need a room full of really highly paid engineers? Because I could replace you all with graduates out of college if it's this easy. And once you start challenging them and it's like, hey, what happens if you put me in charge of this program tomorrow? What would I break? What are the things that would go wrong? Then all of a sudden you get, oh, well, it's not really that easy. Well, you got to do this, you got to do that. And you start getting really good stuff. So when we talk about the things that could break down, just remember that sometimes when we talk to our SMEs, our engineers who know a lot of these things, their understanding of the problem is a lot different than us mere mortals who haven't spent 20, 30 years in the field doing this exact thing. Okay. But we are trying to get to that high impact knowledge. If you don't know, we want to guess. We want to put on our customer hat. How do I, as the customer of whatever contract we're going after, how do I view the world? Because it's not about how me, the contractor, views the world. It's about how my customer views the world. because they're the ones who are making the buying decision and selecting which contractor is going to get this potentially very, very large contract. So let's talk win themes. So we want to capture hot buttons, right? And those hot buttons are going to drive our win themes. And I've read many proposals. I've seen many capture decks that have about the same win themes every single time I read them. We'll talk about that here in a minute, but there's a lot of misconceptions of what win themes are. These are things that we do in capture. Our win themes drive our win strategy. Our understanding of the problem drives our win themes. We need to write these things down because of the number one rule of proposals. I could put this in the number one rule of business development, which is if I have not seen it, it does not exist. If our win themes are not written down, we can't make them better because they don't exist. So we are essentially writing the reasons why the customer should select us and not a competitor. And I'm going to give you guys examples later on of what is a bad win theme or what you should look out for. Okay. Thing about win themes is that they're either potent and really good, or they are weak in general. There is no middle ground. And the strength of a win theme depends on our capture effort, how good of a capture effort we've had, the intelligence gathered, the relationships built. We need those customer hot buttons. We need that customer intelligence. No matter where you are, what tools you have, what people you have, we have to understand who is making the buying decision, who has a vote in the evaluation room, and what do they care about? How do they see the world? We need to write these things down as best we can. Then the customer focus. What is this specific customer looking for? What are their hot buttons, their pain points, and the evaluation criteria that they have chosen to adopt? And this is something that's really important, kind of an advanced flavor of capture, is once the requirements start coming out and you have all of this information about what our customer wants, now it's up to us, and it's actually incumbent upon us, the contractor, your BD team, your capture team, to say, hey, did the evaluation criteria and did the contract structure, is that going to deliver the goals that this customer wants? And if it's not, we need to tell them. We need to give the customer feedback. Hey, I don't think this contract structure is going to deliver your outcomes. You cannot do this kind of work on lowest price technically acceptable, or you are not including the R&D fee as part of a major CLIN. It's not being evaluated. There's all kinds of things that could affect the way that the contract will be, or the proposals will be evaluated, and potentially amplify or mitigate our customer knowledge. Because at the end of the day, our proposals are going to be evaluated according to the evaluation criteria. So if there's an issue, if there's something that is keeping, or if there's something that is taking away our, if there's something that's taking away our advantage that we're building in our positioning, we need to let the customer know that. And what they do, either through a white paper, through questions, through a meeting, what they do based on that is going to determine how, well, it's going to give us a lot of clues about where we stand. Okay. And then the team diligence. So how diligent are we in developing the win themes correctly using the feature benefit proof structure that I'm about to go over? Generally, a win theme is about 1 to 3 sentences long. In general, a proposal paragraph is between 4 and 5 sentences long. So for an idea, you're generally about half to 3/4 of a paragraph in length is your win theme. So win themes are, and everybody that's here, we're gonna say, okay, hey, win themes are not, we're the best value, lowest price contractor. Okay. Win themes are not, we are the most flexible contractor, right? Those are not win themes. You may be those things, but you have no idea. Like you have to From the government's perspective, it is, are you actually the most flexible contractor? Because this other company over here in their proposal gave me a lot of flexibility. So there, we don't want to be presumptuous in our win themes. So purpose of a win theme is, and this is why we should spend so much time working on them, is during the capture, they help to define the win strategy. So when we sit down as capture managers, as a capture team, whoever is helping work on this opportunity, it could just be you as the CEO or the solopreneur. It happens. I understand. As we start writing the hot buttons down, we're going to notice the assumptions that we're making. We're going to notice our gaps in intelligence. Those need to go back onto our customer contact plan for us to fill those gaps in intelligence. We may also not have features. Yeah. We also may not have the things to deliver the benefits. We may not have the proof points. So there might be capability and past performance gaps that we meet. Focusing your action item list and your win strategy around the win themes process allows you to focus exactly on what you have to do to win. So also during capture, it creates the customer messages to position the company. And we can start influencing the requirements, making sure that the evaluation criteria favors our solution. You know, if we have proprietary tech that enables us to get ship features out the door faster or monitor cybersecurity networks better, right? We want to make sure that those things are evaluated more favorably. We also want to highlight our competitive advantage and the ultimate deliverable out of this win themes, win strategy process is to document the reasons why we should win. During the proposal, when we make these things, it focuses the proposal team's writing on what it takes to win, makes the benefits of our solution obvious, and contrasts strengths with the competition. So many proposals that I've read that have the feature benefit tables of, you know, the proposal of are really feature tables. The benefits are not there. Like what's in it for the customer, why should the customer care, not written down. The other thing that I've seen is I have been working with Alessia here. We spent a lot of time doing win themes, this exact win themes process for a client of ours. This was a long time ago. And they were very good, right? I mean, we won, right? So that's how I know that they were good. And we got to a pink team. So Alessia and I were not leading the proposal. We were not writing the proposal. We get to pink team. Client's like, hey, can you come and evaluate our proposal? We're like, sure. And everybody goes around the room, and then it's me, and the owner of the company is right next to me, right? So I'm second to last. And I look, and everybody is in the pink team is like, oh, this is a really strong proposal. You know, everybody did a great job, yada yada. It's the typical bullcrap of not really making the proposal better. And I just look at everybody and I say, hey, guys, there are none of the win themes that we spent all of this time developing in your proposal. Like you could copy and paste them. They're not in here. Like this proposal is not persuasive. There's no real approach, and you haven't used any of the win themes. And the owner of the company cuts me off. He says, you know, we spent all of this time and brought all of these experts in to develop these win themes. Go rewrite the document.
Yeah, that was the end of the review.
That was the end of the review. Yeah, so
Dave was there buckled up for several hours. That was the end.
I had all kinds of other stuff to go over, like all these other improvements and things, and I didn't even get a chance to say it. So anyway, they did. Like, moral of the story is when you write these things down, involve your proposal team, make sure they understand where they go. We actually built it into the outline for them. This was before the days of SharePoint and simultaneous editing, so everybody just went off and did their own thing. I wasn't on the proposal kickoff, so I don't know who the proposal manager was.
Remember when you had to integrate all the comments by hand?
Oh yeah, it was good times.
In hard copy.
In hard copy, yeah. So during the evaluation, win themes recur through the proposal to make it memorable. It answers the question, why should I select you? And it helps in the award justification. So we did this for a very large contract on a very large company, and it was the best debrief I've ever had. Was 10 pages of evaluation criteria, copy and pasted win themes from our client's proposal. And I was like, ah, oh, perfect. Because that is when they start, when the evaluators start going through and applying that confidence scale to all of your claims, like, hey, we can reduce cost here because XYZ. Those are the things that they're actually looking for. Those statements, or we can improve quality because we are doing XYZ, right? Those are the things that the evaluators can literally take out of your proposal and paste into the award document. And it's great. We have high confidence Acme Corporation can perform this work because this is what they said. Here's the proof. Wham. Good to go. So before I get to the win themes, typical problems with win themes is they are actually missing outright, like there aren't any. By the way, I've starting to evaluate proposals that have been written almost entirely by AI. They are very bad and they have no win themes at all. Okay, so this is becoming more and more common. At least back a few years ago, people were putting in their win themes. Now that's just AI. They're low quality because the customer doesn't care about what you think is your advantage. One of the things about discriminators and differentiators and all of these things is that they may be unique to you, but the customer does not care. And on my wall of shame is an executive summary where the second sentence, well, the first sentence is we're pleased to submit, this proposal, yada, yada. The second sentence are, we are the seventh fastest growing company in DC. And I'm like, who cares? Like, the customer doesn't care. So our advantages may not be what the customer thinks their advantages are. And we zero in on our advantages by focusing on the hot buttons and writing those things down first. They take forever. The process is unnatural to most technical people. A lot of times, particularly when you get to engineers and scientists who have not been trained in sales, you get the question, how can I sell what I don't have? Well, if you start early enough, you can go and find it, or you can go and build it through teaming, through hiring, through changing requirements, through all kinds of, I've seen buying companies. I've seen winning other contracts so that we have the performance we need. Like if we start early enough in capture, we can build the things we need in order to win and the things that the customer specifically wants. They also fail the substitution test. So what I would challenge you guys to do is as you are taking these slides away and thinking about how to improve in your own organization, take your win themes and just place another company's name in front of instead of the we. And if it sounds the same or it sounds like it could be true for that company, it's not a win theme. So this is the easiest way to disqualify win themes is they fail the substitution test. They lack proof. Proof is one of the most important parts of proposal persuasion. So when you don't have proof, you're just claiming stuff and there's no substantiation. It's like, okay, well, you say you can do that. Have you done it before? Without proof, I, the evaluator, am sitting there wondering, can they actually do this? I don't know. The next level of proof is to approximate the numbers, right? It's better than nothing. What you actually need to do is you need to go look up all the facts. It is more persuasive to say 992,346,000 in savings. It is more persuasive to say that number than it is to say approximately $1 million in savings. Our brains and humans in general look at hard numbers, specific numbers, and for whatever reason, odd numbers as more believable than approximations. So the more specific our proof, the better. And they're self-centered. They're about you. One of the things that we want to understand is that proposals are sales documents. The customer, and one of the things that we need to wrap our brains around as we're writing proposals, as we're doing capture, as we're seeking to become the best business developer that we can. One of the things we need to keep in mind and really truly believe is that our customers only care about us in the context of themselves. We are a means to helping them solve one of their hot buttons, one of their hopes, fears, or biases, one of their pain points. We're there to make their lives easier. As soon as we realize that, our proposals, our capture, our messages will get much, much, much better, and they will make a much greater impact. So we want to make sure that our proposals are about the customers. And with that in mind, please do not start your proposal with "we are pleased to submit," because I know you're not. I know that you're not excited that you spent all this time and money writing this proposal for something you may not win. I know you're not pleased about it. And also, it's about you. It's a you statement. We want to start our proposals off and our cover letters off with the customer. Something that they care about, something that shows that, hey, this is about you, it's not about me. Okay, with that, win themes, rule of thumbs. They essentially appear in two ways. They stand on their own or they're woven into the text. So sometimes win themes show up as like call out boxes, or, they get like a highlighted background or something like that. Or you can just weave them into the text and bold them. Win themes can also be at the proposal and section level. The proposal level win theme is about 1 to 5-ish. So this is like executive summary, intro to technical approach, intro to management volume, that's what I'm talking about by proposal level win themes. Try not to get over 8, otherwise the customer gets lost. At the subsection level, when you get down to like section 3, section 4, where it's like 1.1.1 or 1.2.1.2, just restate the benefits. If you're redoing your win themes at that level of technical detail, you're generally repeating yourself. So at the major section level, you generally want about 10 win themes. So when I say proposal level, it's like whole programmatic win themes. So executive summary. When we get into the tech volume, management volume, yada, yada, we want roughly 10 that we can weave through the proposal. Okay. So what are the effective building blocks of win themes? Well, the first one is a feature. What is it we're actually selling, right? This is qualitative or quantitative, measurable and specific. The more specific, the better. The more specific your numbers, the better. The more specific your qualitative descriptors, like the name of the person, the name of the company, the name of the section, the name of the corporate entity, the name of the product, yada yada. The more specific, the better. So we want to pack our features with descriptors. As many as we can.
And in our roadmap for our software, we actually have AI helping you generate the features and speed that process along.
Yep. And then we talked a lot about the hot buttons, right? The benefits are actually the hot buttons. We are describing what's in it for the customer. And we have to explain how so and so what. Why does it matter? Because is a very powerful word. It will reduce cost because yada, yada, yada. Or it will increase quality because, or it will decrease risk because, right? These so what statements are very important. And when you write the hot buttons down, you have all of the content you need to write benefits. And what we're going to show you is how our system generates hot buttons and then writes the benefits for you. And then we can start diving into the features and the proof points. So features and benefits are mandatory in any win theme. The proof is where we have done it before. It builds confidence and credibility. It makes the evaluators believe that this stuff you're saying in the features and benefits is like you can do it again for me. Okay, you've done it before over there. Cool. Can you do it for me? And this is what proof is about. There are so many unsubstantiated assertions that I read in proposals where a lot of the reviews I'm just going through, hey, prove this point, prove this point, prove this point. What does this mean? Prove that. This is one of the key elements of persuasion, and also why this sometimes takes a really long time. Because looking up all of these facts and looking up all of these data points and coming up with all of these details are really what make the difference when you get into really high competitive bids. Features and benefits have to be together. I've seen Many win themes where the benefit is first and the feature is second, or the feature's first, benefit second, don't care, but they have to be together. Generally, they're in the same sentence. Okay. The proof can appear elsewhere. This is stylistically, it's up to you. Proof right after the win theme is great. Proof in call out boxes is great. Proof as the section conclusion, great. But your proof has to be there and it needs to be tied to your features and benefits. So win themes based on the benefits. Great win themes reflect the benefits to the customer, not the writer. So your 4 types of benefits, generally. It can be better, it can be cheaper, it can be faster, or it can be less risky. These are the 4 kinds of benefits generally that the hot buttons become. Increased quality, decreased cost, increased speed or schedule, decreased risk with quantifiable risk reduction methodologies in your features. Okay, so start with the benefits. It makes everything else so much easier. We don't have a feature to deliver that benefit. All right, cool. That is a brainstorming session. We're going to put it on the action item list, figure out how we can get it. Answers the so what question well, comes across credible through proof, addresses what the customer wants and cares about, again, the hot buttons, distinguishes you from the competition. When you guys are writing win themes for professional services contracts, I hear a lot, man, we're just badge flipping. And I'm like, okay, well, cool. We can't say that in the proposal. That's not very persuasive. So what are the things that we can talk about? What is the understanding and mission, the culture that we've built? Like all of these things that it becomes a win theme for us because we make the same point, but we make it better than our competition. Proof is the most important part of this. Okay. Win themes are substitution proof. I cannot copy and paste them between proposals. I cannot copy and paste them between companies. These are something that are developed custom for each opportunity. They relate to the evaluation criteria and capture intelligence. They persuade the evaluator because we wrote them for the evaluator, right? They permeate our entire proposal. And there's a substitution test. If I took your win theme that you spent weeks and weeks and weeks making, and I put another company's name on it, does it sound true for them? If the answer is yes, it's not a win theme, throw it away. Rewrite it. All right. So let's talk about how our platform that we're building can help you. So I was looking for an opportunity, and it just so happens that the Defense Health Agency's Omnibus 4 program is having an on-ramp. Alessia and I helped a couple companies, 4 or 5 years ago now, win this contract. So some familiarity with it, which made my research a little bit easier, the work that I had to do for this a little bit easier. So there's an on-ramp. It is a $10 billion contract originally awarded in June 2022. There's $600 million in awards with 51 task orders in research and development, R&D support services, regulatory process, and translational science support. So this is a military R&D contract for warfighters and soldiers to improve survivability, improve recovery, et cetera, et cetera. That's a 10-year contract. The on-ramp is for 8A contractors only. And as we were working through the slides here and putting this together for you guys, our system told us that, well, the reason they're doing this is because all of the original 8A awardees, there's only one left. So I think the rest of them got bought. But the RFP is expected to release the end of February.
Well, they graduated as well.
Did they graduate? Okay, some of them graduated. All right, so what we did is this is a live look at our system, and in the middle of the hot buttons and the benefits here, we have all of the hot buttons that we were identified, and then we rewrote them to benefits. So the more documents that we can put in here, the better this will be, the longer this will be. We're able to prioritize them on the left. We have 9. And then you'd want to start uploading transcripts of brainstorming, any customer meeting notes, and things like that to the system for more hot buttons and better hot buttons, because our system builds.
System also reaches out to the internet and does the research and pulls the information.
Yep. So what did we see? So I'm going to show you a couple screens of how these things look, but it's a little small. But But major hot button number one that we found was accelerate translation of R&D into clinical practice and fielded capabilities. DHA is evaluating translational science as a differentiator, including the new translational science market segment and lab to field focus. The benefit from that hot button is accelerating DHA's lab to field pipeline by converting research outputs into deployable capabilities and clinical knowledge products sooner, improving adoption in MTFs, deploying settings, and maximizing returns on R&D investment. What does our solution need to provide? I don't know how to deliver this, but I know that if we want to win, we need to. And this is a lot of past performance too, this contract. So how do we write these things into our past performance narratives? And that's what was so challenging about this contract when we bid it the first time, was putting these win themes into our past performance. Took a lot of brainstorming, a lot of details, a lot of interviews. The payoff for our clients was pretty substantial. The next hot button was enhancing force readiness and combat casualty care. Readiness is positioned as the overarching outcome DHA evaluates against. Combat casualty care and readiness narratives dominate the framing. We want to deliver R&D outcomes that directly strengthen medical readiness and combat casualty care, improving survivability, rehabilitation outcomes, and operational performance where DHS measures mission impact most. Third one is establish collaborative medical R&D partnerships across industry, academia, and DoD. DHA explicitly calls for collaboration across industry and academia and structures work to attract non-traditional partners. So this is a huge priority, something that's been going on for the last couple of years. Our benefit is expand DHA's access to breakthrough ideas, specialized facilities, and emerging science by building high-functioning cross-sector partnerships, accelerating discovery, improving the relevance and quality of R&D deliverables. And the last one I'm going to show here is about regulatory compliance, regulatory non-compliance in human-animal research protections. Requirements cite multiple regulatory frameworks. The risk is program disruption, oversight, and reputational damage. So we want to make sure that we have the past performance working in these areas and proven mitigation strategies to reduce the probability of compliance failures. We want to talk about our disciplined regulatory governance process, protecting programs from shutdowns, delays, and negative oversights. So this is something that Alessia and I used to have to do manually. And now with our system being built with our processes and methodologies and procedures, it can do it for us. And something that now we can scale to our clients who are part of our platform. So this is what it looks like in the actual screens here. So we have our hot button, we have our benefit. So the system will automatically populate these things. What's really important is coming down here to verify this. We need humans to come in here and verify this. Otherwise, any mistakes that happen are going to get compounded throughout the win themes process or throughout the capture process. So we are driving in human in the loop compliance into this stuff by making sure that people come in here and check these things and edit them. Here's another one. This is the quality, safety, and security and surety standards. We want to protect DHA Labs personnel and mission execution by enforcing rigorous safety, security, and surety practices, reducing incident likelihood, preventing mission impacting stand-downs, investigations, and loss of accreditation. So that's what it looks like. And now Alessia is going to talk a little bit about how we did it and kind of what we're pulling from so that you guys have a good idea about, we didn't just make this data up. Go ahead,
Right.
Alessia.
So as you can see, there is the way that the way AI actually goes about that is far superior to how humans go about that, or most humans, should I say, right? So Dave and I actually have, over our careers, we have the benefit of designing the system with, an aggregate of 45, 50 years together of business development. And essentially, we have done a lot of that rigorous work by hand. But in this particular case, we're really looking at AI, looking at documents, looking at internet sources. As you can see, they're listed right there, 5 sources. and looking at document quality, looking at different characteristics. We have a lot of algorithms behind the scenes that are built for that. So our system is incredibly complex. The reason why it's really effective is because we are able to put all that knowledge behind it. It's all cohesive because we've had this methodology this entire time. And so, as you can see, without AI cross-referencing, a capture manager would read the statement of objectives and see the funding sources at the task order level will be determined by scope and adherence to applicable law and things, okay, standard boilerplate. A lot of times we can miss those signals. We can actually have really good things go undetected. So in a particular wind theme that we're going to be picking apart, it is about the budget. It is about the funding. And a lot of the times we're okay, well, that is something that we can't impact as a contractor, therefore we're going to miss that. So with Winmore BD Intelligence, the AI will read the same sentence and then pull 5 external sources showing that the budget was slashed by 57% in fiscal year 2025, zeroing on TBI and cancer research. So there is a low document signal. As you can see, our document signal is low on the left-hand side, but our amplified signal with all of the sources from the web is high. Therefore, the system is going to pick up on that being a hot button. So the document will then have cost staffing models and funding contingency plans as a contractor, and perhaps different measures of where you're saying, okay, here's how we can staff down for this particular scenario, or here's how we can maybe mothball some experimentation or things like that. So solutions like that would be actually very responsive to what the customer is worrying about, directly addressing the number one budget anxiety at DHA right now. So next slide, please. So here's another kind of thing, right? So you want to make sure AI does not make things up. It doesn't hallucinate. As you know, AI is probabilistic. What is the high probability of it? And it's excellent at that. But AI needs to be made deterministic for our field. And so the way that you make AI deterministic is by citing excellent sources and going to the exact sentence in that source, showing you where was that stated so that you don't have to leaf through, like, for example, 50 pages of a document, because you want AI to save you time as you are verifying something like that. So our big component of what we're doing is open source intelligence. Open source intelligence is everything that's out in the open, that's not stealing your competitors' information, for example, doing something improper with the source selection materials or anything like that. So the system will go into the research and figure out what are the signals for that particular theme and pick them up and show you evidence that you can confirm or you can disallow, and then the system will go ahead and give you the conclusions based on that. Next slide. So what we're also making sure is that the system has detection pattern analysis. We have a lot of components in our algorithm. Our algorithm is incredibly long. There's sophisticated agentic frameworks that we're building where there's agents who verify things, agents who research things, and everything else. So, but give you an example, right? So there's document signals. That is where there was only one mention of funding variability in statement of objectives background. So there's no repetition, no emotional language. There's standard administrative phrasing. On its own, you wouldn't read it as a hot button. But then there is the correlation with open source intelligence, right? So they have 5 independent external sources all confirming that there is severe funding instability, right? So there's 57% budget cut, there's multi-area budget decreases, 157 organization coalition letter, making sure that there is cancer resources, bipartisan congressional action, and DHA director's own admission of flat budgets amidst inflation, right? So you have that particular situation being picked up as critical as far as the strength of signal. There's temporal recency. In fiscal year 2025, the budget cut happened within the last 12 months. So temporal recency is really important. Is that ancient news? So this is news, right? So DHA is still recovering. The fiscal year 2027 appropriation only partially restored funding, and this is an active wound, not a historical concern. So then there is the emotional escalation. The DHA's director language tested us in unique ways, shrunk, added to our costs, right? So all of these are emotionally charged kinds of things. That shows institutional frustration, which is rare in official strategic plans. So you have 157 organizations writing Congress signals ecosystem-wide alarm. And that's what is being picked up. And then you have the structural impact. The programs are zeroed out. You have TBI, vision here, and cancer that are directly within the Omnibus 4 program areas 3, 6, and 8, right? So this is an abstract budget pressure. It's hollowing out of the exact research this contract funds, which is a critical area of the hot button. How do you address that? You have to get creative. Next slide, please. So now what this means for win strategy, right? So it's really important the hot buttons actually translate for win strategy into win strategies, and that's what AI helps you do as well. And this is a fear DHA will never put in a procurement document because politics, right? And admitting funding instability actually undermines confidence in the vehicle. They don't want to have the vehicle canceled, for example. There's lots of reasons why things like that do not make it into the document in the open. But every program manager, every core, every requirements owner at the Omnibus 4 lived through the fiscal year 2025 disaster. They watched programs get zeroed out. They had to tell researchers their grants weren't coming. So the proposal would be for the offers to proposal guidance would be for the offers to demonstrate cost flexible staffing models, right? Ability to ramp up, ability to ramp down. You have no standing army without losing critical expertise. How are you going to do that? Experience managing through continuing resolutions and funding gaps. How have you done that? Those are examples. Those would be proof points. Any kind of track record of maintaining program continuity during appropriations uncertainty, right? So that will directly address this hidden fear. So you don't just price competitively, you show you can absorb fiscal volatility without the government losing the research investment. Right?
Cool. Well, guys, that comes to the end of our slides. So join our first 50 customers to harness AI for superior capture and shape the roadmap as we grow our platform. We are signing folks up, have really close to this number now. For you guys, companies who sign up now, we're offering 5 licenses at a 33% discount, 2 licenses to OST's self-paced training catalog, which is $24,000 value.
That's included as a bonus and pays for the license cost for the software.
White glove implementation is shaping the features on our roadmap. You can visit winmorebd.ai to learn more, schedule time with me to see the platform. And if now's not a good time for you, subscribe to our newsletter because we constantly push things out. So what I'll do is stick around here for a few more minutes to see if anybody has any questions. Otherwise, we will wrap things up. And yeah, I'll wish everybody a great day. So I don't see any questions in the Q&A yet or in the chat. All right. Well, guys, thank you for joining. If you would like to follow up with me afterwards, this is my email, cell phone number. Feel free to reach out. Give me a call. Happy to talk through things. So thanks for joining again, guys. Hope to see you guys at the next webinar, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Oh, we have a question. Have you noticed any government policies or attitudes deterring the use of AI for proposals? So far, what I've seen is a disclosure requirement to talk about what AI tools you've used. I haven't seen anything outside of that. I've seen a bigger shift towards past performance and orals, more so than long form narratives. but nothing specifically saying that you shall not use AI to write this proposal. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, and they are reacting to proposals that don't use capture. So that's why we're building this, is because your win probability is going to go up, because you won't be able to tell that the AI has written this proposal, because you're going to do a lot of prep ahead of time, and it's going to be non-generic, because a lot of your goal is not to submit more proposals. Your goal is to win proposals.
Can you share your
So
differentiator from other tools on the market that also include pipeline features? Well, there is no other tool on the market that actually helps you do capture work. So there are pipeline tools that will help identify opportunities for you, and there are tools that will help you write proposal drafts. But what is it in the middle that actually helps you win? So
yeah,
proposals.
there are tools that are going to give you a lot of data, but you're still going to have to work with that data. Our tool automates your work.
So, so that's the big difference, is that the other platforms that are out there require you, the user, to be an expert to know what to do next. Ours, we've built that expertise into the system so that you don't have to spend 20, 30 years like Alessia and I had to do to learn this field. It's more of go get the intelligence from the customers, find the teammates that fill the gaps,
Build the
work.
relationships, facilitate the brainstorming sessions, do something that humans do best. The rest is going to be done by the system.
Yep. So I hope that answered your question. Uh, I will get that question from our team. Great, thank you. All right, cool. You're welcome. All righty. That is the last question, and we are at time. So hope everybody has a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week. And stay tuned for more, because Alessia and I are planning some more webinars in the future that I think you guys are really going to like, specifically around competitive analysis. We have some really cool things coming out for that. So hope to see you guys there, and have a great rest of your week. See ya.